Almost all asynchronous tasks you work with in C# are already running or completed by the time your code reaches them, whether you use await or not. You can see this in action with a simple example. Let's create a console application that makes a basic task. The task will show a starting message, include a short delay, and then display an ending message. In the calling code, I create the task but don't await it, I just keep a reference to the task object. Then I add a delay that's definitely longer than the one in the async method. The message awaiting appears right before I use the await operator. This helps show what happens first, whether the async function runs first or the awaiting begins. After running the console application, we can see the asynchronous function started and completed before the actual await occurred. The waiting message appears after end async. While this behavior often goes unnoticed, it might become an unexpected issue in more advanced scenarios. The simplest way to solve this problem is to use the lazy class from .NET Space Library. It takes a factory delegate that gets called when we first access the value property, which returns the delegate's result. In our case, the delegate will create the task, so we only need to use the value property when we're ready to await the task. When we run the application, we observe that the moment awaiting begins now precedes the actual execution, confirming we've formally achieved our goal. Though this approach is simple to implement, the added abstraction layer comes at a cost to code clarity. However, there is another solution that just slightly impacts your client code by replacing the task, returned by your asynchronous function, with LazyTask, a class that you can create using C#7's generalized async return types feature. Let's check the compiler errors for our LazyTask requirements. The error states we need a GetAwaiter method. We'll implement the minimal version that returns a reference to itself, since full async state tracking will be handled within the class itself. The next error indicates our class is missing the IsCompleted property. This tells calling code when the task is already completed, allowing await to complete immediately. Let's implement this property. Next, the compiler reports we're missing the INotifyCompletion interface from System Runtime Compiler Services namespace. This interface has just one method, onCompleted, which receives a callback. The task invokes this callback when the async operation finishes, letting calling code resume execution with the ready result. If the task is already complete, we'll execute the callback immediately. Otherwise, we store the callback delegate in a class field and invoke it when the underlying async operation completes. The compiler also expects our class to implement a GetResult method. This method is called by the outer code, either during the continuation callback or directly, if the async operation has already completed. GetResult is responsible for returning the final result of the asynchronous work. It's essential that this method is only called after the underlying task is completed. Otherwise, the result won't be ready, and calling it prematurely could lead to incorrect behavior. After adding the result property, we also need a way to assign a value to it when the async operation finishes. To handle that, I'm including an internal method called setResult. This method sets the result and marks the task as completed, so it can be retrieved later. If a continuation callback is already set when we assign the result, we should call it immediately. This signals to the external code that the asynchronous operation has completed, and that execution can safely continue using the result. At this point, the C# compiler no longer complains about using our LazyTask with the wait operator. However, it still raises an error if we try to use LazyTask as the return type of a method marked with the async keyword. To resolve this issue, we need to associate our LazyTask with a custom method builder class. This builder acts as a bridge between the async state machine, automatically generated by the C# compiler, and our custom return type. Behind the scenes, the compiler injects calls to specific methods and properties on this builder at various stages of asynchronous execution. So to support this integration, we'll need to implement the required methods and properties in a proxy class called LazyTaskMethodBuilder. We'll start by adding the task property, which holds the actual instance of our LazyTask. This property is read-only and is initialized in the constructor of the method builder, ensuring a one-to-one relationship between each async method and its corresponding LazyTask instance. The generated state machine calls the static create method to initialize the method builder. If the method exists and has the right shape, the compiler uses it. This is a form of duck typing. The next method is setResult, which gets called when the async operation completes. It simply forwards the result to the corresponding method on the LazyTask instance. A similar method is setException, which signals that the async operation has ended with an error. Since an exception is also a kind of result, I've chosen to omit it here for simplicity. One of the most important methods in the method builder is AwaitOnCompleted. It connects an asynchronous operation, represented by an awaiter, which in our case is LazyTask, with a state machine that manages the async method's execution. The key idea is to move the state machine forward once the async operation completes, so the result becomes available for use inside the synchronous part of the async method. A quick side note, notice how the signature of this method is designed. It's written this way to avoid unnecessary struct boxing, which helps improve performance. You can find more details through the link provided. Now we're getting to the core idea of this entire video. Before the state machine begins stepping through its states, the generated code calls the start method on the method builder, expecting it to immediately invoke moveNext, which would start the async method's execution. But instead of doing that, we'll simply store the state machine instance inside the LazyTask, so that execution can begin only when it's actually needed. Before we move on, you might have noticed that I've skipped over a few other methods in this class. Microsoft relies on them internally, but in our case, they aren't needed. Now, back to the state machine storage. Inside LazyTask, I'm adding an internal method called setStateMachine, which saves the state machine instance. At this point, we can be certain the task isn't completed, because it hasn't even started yet. With this connection in place, we're finally able to reach our goal. When the first awaiter of the underlying asynchronous operation appears, typically when someone accesses the task, we can trigger the actual start of execution by calling the state machine's moveNext method. This moves it into its initial state and begins processing the logic defined in the async method. From that point, the state machine takes care of suspending and resuming as needed, just like with any standard async flow. At this point, everything is set up, and we can see how our changes affect the actual execution. And sure enough, simply replacing task with LazyTask shifts the start of execution to happen after the awaiting begins. So with just a small change in the original code, we've achieved our goal in a clean and elegant way. Thank you for watching. Bye.